me now at our virtual Wellbeing Expo is Alice Jennings from Prevention Action Alliance. Alice, welcome to New Albany Plain Local Schools.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm glad for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about Prevention Action Alliance?
Sure. Prevention Action Alliance is a statewide agency. We're a nonprofit 501c3 that focuses on preventing substance misuse and promoting mental wellness.
What kind of programs do you offer that our families could check out and look into?
Sure. We have a number of programs available for families. Some of my favorite are free newsletters for parents, the No Tips. They come out twice a month. You go to our website, sign up for the email. They're timely tips. Not only do they focus on preventing substance misuse and promoting mental wellness, but they also touch on, the current topics of the day. So whether it's an internet trend that you're seeing that has come out and you have questions about, or the racial protests last summer, the pandemic, all of those topics are covered in No Tips, and they're research-based and practical to give parents some very concrete suggestions on how to approach talking with their kids about different topics. We also have, one of the things that we've done in the pandemic is we realized that parents and professionals both need help figuring out how to pivot. And I realize we've been here for a year, but we created a series of everyday prevention tips. So those are 40 prevention tips that families can get in a free email, and they're based off of the Search Institute's developmental assets. So we know the more developmental assets we have, the more likely our kids are to grow up to be healthy and responsible, caring adults. And so they're based on that, but they're really focused on, during the pandemic, how can we implement these assets? How can we help support our kids during this difficult time at the same time that we're going through it as well as parents and educators? And we may not have necessarily the bandwidth to be creative with it while we're also trying to process world events.
I think that's great. I remember seeing that earlier in the pandemic, but as you're saying it, it makes me want to look back at it because, as you said, here we're still in it a year later. It's not really any easier, and we could still use those tips.
It's true. It's definitely been a good asset to have, and another tool to put in your back pocket as parents. Some of those ideas just are not going to fly with your family, but some of them will, and they'll connect and might spark something new.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. What are you doing with regards to alcohol abuse, substance abuse for teens particularly?
So one of the public health campaigns that we have is called Parents Who Host Lose the Most. And during this time of year, particularly as we're approaching proms and graduation season, it's often tempting, especially as our youth are entering that young adulthood phase, to be tempted to provide them with alcohol or to provide their friends with alcohol. And what we want to do is encourage parents to not do that. Teens who use alcohol, if they use it early, they're more likely to develop an alcohol use disorder or alcoholism. It impacts your brain health. It impacts your decision-making ability, and is just in general unsafe and unhealthy for teens. So we want to encourage parents to provide other fun drinks, at the party, get some recipes for mocktails, get some, fizzy sodas that are, not necessarily ones you would typically buy, and find other ways to have good things for your teens at their graduation parties and at their prom.
That's great. Wonderful information. What else can parents find on your website?
Well, there's a lot of different information. You can find, we have a series of No Tips that are from a faith-based background. So we partnered with Cedarville University several years ago and came up with a series of No Tips that are specifically focused with that religious aspect in mind. We also have some No Tips in Spanish. You're going to find a lot of information about specific substances. So we have a series of marijuana fact sheets. Marijuana is a difficult topic for parents to talk about with their kids because, our youth have access to so much information. And there's a lot of information online about marijuana, and it appears to be, from the information they're seeing, healthy and natural, and less abrasive to your body than prescription medicine. And so what the fact sheets do is give you some tools to offer some facts along with what they're seeing online. This is how marijuana does affect your body. This is the difference between THC and CBD oil and hemp. All those things that we're seeing all the time in advertisements and online, those fact sheets go through, different parts of it. So that's one of my favorite parts of the substances on our website, that they provide that very detailed information about a substance. And same thing with other substances. We have an entire, webpage devoted to prescription medicine use, and how to practice medicine safety in your own home, and on throughout different things. We also do some work with problem gambling, which is something that's becoming more of an issue with youth, as we're having all these gaming programs. And some of the things that the gaming programs are doing are very similar to what happens in a casino with problem gambling. You get that immediate loot box and you get excited and you get promoted to the next level. And so we have some of those tools on our website that are able to help parents approach it in a healthy manner, because what we really want to do is, all of us want to set up our kids for success.
Absolutely. Alice, thank you so much for being here with us. I really appreciate you and the work that Prevention Action Alliance is doing to help educate families and our teenagers and young adults and students regarding these issues.
Thanks so much for having me. Definitely appreciate it, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.